Do you realize what this episode does for us?
Oh, is this the episode?
This is episode 21,
Heck
which means
yeah.
that we are officially in the top 1%
So
of
we can call
podcasts.
ourselves 1%ers?
We're 1%. 1%. At least in one small aspect of our lives,
Right.
we have made it to the
Yes.
top 1% in something. That is good enough for me.
Very, very much an achievement.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool to get to celebrate that. All right, hey, can I ask you a hypothetical question to start us off?
Yes, and sausage biscuits and gravy.
I flipping hate it here. It's so funny.
I'm not going to let that die.
Yeah, that's fair. And the bad thing is that won't be the last time
I
that I
know.
repeat a topic at all.
Like, that's like my paranoia now is like, oh crap, did I already ask him this? Like, I don't, because
Yeah.
I'm really good about taking notes beforehand.
Right.
But I'm not good at getting rid of my notes.
But that's what happened with that question was I'm terrible about the fact that this is peek behind the curtain for everybody out there. I have just one big document that's called podcast planning, right? And so
Wait, you just use one document?
yeah, oh yeah.
Oh my god. Well, like
I use multiples? I would never be able to keep track of
Well,
it.
see, like that's because I use Google Docs for everything.
Yeah,
'Cause it's easy, it's simple, it's free. But I like went through this morning and I was like, oh crap! But I don't label mine, so that's where my thing comes into.
Yeah.
So I'm like clicking on each document, and then with that, it counts that as like an edit when you open it, so it pushes it right to the beginning.
Right.
So I have all this stuff from like the Circleville letter writer and like
All the previous that we
original
talked about,
stuff,
yeah.
like is all that thing. So I'm like going back there. I'm like, okay, which one is it? Because I was looking for something for our next episode.
Yeah.
And I realized that I didn't save it, so I had to like go back through this morning at like 9:45.
Nice. We record at 10:30, just so
Yeah.
everybody knows.
So that was my morning. So what's your hypothetical question?
Well, I was gonna say too, though. Yeah, I have this like one long like document, like a pages document that I keep everything in, and what I do is the things that I'm planning on using for like the current episode, I'll go in and highlight them.
Oh, okay.
So that I have them ready to go. And what happens inevitably though is that I highlight them
And
and
then
I
you
forget to
don't
delete
unhighlight,
that
yeah.
thing out of my thing, and so it's still highlighted the next time we sit down, and then I have to sit there and go, did I already ask that question? And then the last time, of course, I had already asked that question.
And the
just
amount
forgot.
of confidence you went into it.
Oh yeah. Hey man, if you were breakfast food.
But the funny thing is, because I think that was one where we recorded, you asked me the question in the previous episode.
Yeah.
And then it was 2 weeks before we recorded again,
Yep.
so you had forgotten.
Yep.
But those episodes aired back to back, and that's the funniest part to me.
Oh, I think it's great. I think it's hilarious, but at the same time, I was just like,
I hate it here.
Yeah, I hate it here. Anyways, hypothetical question for today, and this is kind of I guess a little bit of a deep one.
Okay.
Would you rather know the exact date and time that you're going to die, or
How?
know exactly how you're going to die?
See, I've seen this question before, and it's a really good question because it's a no-win situation. In my opinion, it's a no-win situation.
Yeah.
Because you're counting down the days, you're counting down the seconds, you're counting down everything till the day you die. So you miss out on a lot of stuff.
Sure.
Because you're dwelling on that. If you know how you're going to die, you're going to avoid that specific thing all the time.
Right.
And it's like, I always say, I want to die away peacefully in my sleep.
Yeah.
Because, that's the
Who
nice
doesn't
way.
want to go that way? Yeah.
Exactly. But it's like, is it specific of how you're going to die? Or is it like Genie rules where it's like adjacent to like, oh, I wish for $1 million and you get like 1 million male deer. Like, that
Yeah,
kind of
right,
thing.
right.
Like,
It's a play on words
you're gonna
kind of
die,
thing.
You're going to die skydiving. And it's like, I'm never going to go skydiving. Like,
Right.
oh, but then you die in a plane crash. Like,
Right.
you get sucked out of a plane and,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Man, that's a real tough one. I would probably have to say, because I'm thinking that I wouldn't dwell on it as much, but probably like the day and the time.
Yeah.
Because, then it kind of puts a little bit more perspective on things.
Right. Yeah.
know.
I think for me, like it's I'm in the same boat. It's day and time, but mine's because like I would want to prep, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. But is it a year too?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, like, okay,
yeah,
'cause I was like-
I don't know. That's the question. But I mean, even if it's like, if it told me like, oh, you're gonna die in 2 days,
Right.
there's still like there's things that I would want to like make sure
Oh, of course.
that I kind of handled and got ready for like my family and
Right.
have the conversations with your kids and all that kind of stuff, let them know how much you love them and everything. The the how you're gonna die thing, yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. It's like, even if it was very specific, right? Like, if it's like, you're gonna die in a car accident, this, that, and the other, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. I feel like even knowing that, it's not gonna make me avoid like driving in cars, but it is gonna make you think, like, every time you're driving in a car, is this the one?
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like that just creates more anxiety and worry and stuff like that. For me, it's like, if you knew the day and times you're going to die, and like one of the things that I had to ask about this one was, okay, if you tell me the exact day and time that I'm going to die, mm-hmm. regardless of how I die, right? Like, if I know the day and time, does that also mean that, technically speaking, I'm invincible? Like, that I'm not going to die until that day and time, you know what I'm saying? And so if that's the case, then I can kind of be free to just like live life,
experience things,
how I want to live life. Yeah, like I would go skydiving, and I would, buy a faster motorcycle and all that kind of stuff. I'd have a lot more fun with some things that I'm maybe more reserved on, because I'm like, well, I don't want to die today, the type of deal.
Yeah.
I always thought that was kind of like an interesting one to think on, because I've had some friends of mine that told me before with that question, they're like, no, I want to know how I'm going to die. And I'm like, you don't think that would just create like a crazy mindset for you as far as...
Well, I memean, it's essentially Final Destination. There's another Final Destination movie.
There's another Final
Yes,
Destination
there's another.
movie
Yeah.
out?
It's like...
What is this, like 29?
I think it's either 6 or 7.
That's crazy to me.
But like, it's the same thing where, you're essentially seeing, everybody dying in a plane crash or a roller coaster accident. Or,
yeah.
Those are the only 2 ones that I know.
Yeah. The logs off the back of the truck.
That's number 2.
Is it?
Oh no! Wait, that's number 2. Roller coaster's number 3.
I don't. I've only seen one Final Destination movie, and which I think was the first one, and then I've seen. Of course, everybody has seen that sign, or the scene from the one with the logs.
That's why our generations don't.
Nobody drives behind log trucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
Because it's like,
it's like a meme that people share. They're like, oh, I saw this today, not today, Satan. That type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But it's one of those things where they see everybody dying.
Yeah.
And then they try to avoid it, and it's like inevitable. Like, death comes for everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
and half the time you end up creating it and stuff. And
right.
So
Which,
it's like,
I was listening to a podcast, and it was like, basically, this is like Mythbusters for like death with all the Rube Goldberg chain reactions that happen. But it's like, if you actually sit back and look at this, like, either A, they created it themselves, or B, somebody else is culpable for their murder.
Right.
Because it's like, well, this person did this and it led to this. But yeah, I would definitely do like date and time just to kind of make sure I have everything in order. And
that's how I feel about it too. I'd like to be prepared for my kids, wife, everything else in between, as much as I could be. If it's a short amount of time, there's not much you can do about it. But if you get a decent amount of time, then you can at least get some things in order. So I think that's the right move.
Yeah.
All right.
For sure.
I am stinking excited.
Oh yeah.
About some things that we got coming up.
Is this the special episode?
This is the special episode.
It is?
This is the special episode.
Oh my god.
So let's start things off, and then we're going to come back and have some fun. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Josh.
Recognize me? No? Well, I'm Josh. I got suspended from school because of Josh.
You could be there with me in every way imaginable, Josh.
Josh is truly in a trance, yes.
I went to high school with Josh, and I can tell you right now, he's a terrific kisser.
Hi, I'm Josh.
Josh, these are people's jobs we're talking about, Josh.
Thank you very
much.
Josh walking in the door wasn't even close.
Josh, you are a muffin-snuggling pirate puncher.
Josh is a good guy. We can talk to him.
Please welcome Joshua. Josh.
Wait, so today's the day?
Oh, today's the day.
Today's the day?
Today's the day.
The tank is clean, and we are getting out of here?
The tank is clean, and
Finding
we're getting
Nemo?
out of here.
The star
I know what
from-
you're talking about. Yeah.
Sorry,
that one went over my head a little bit, though. I got to
I could tell you had that. What are you doing?
deer in the headlights thing. I was like, Josh is trying to make a joke here, and I'm not following.
Nope. Yep. Okay. It was like I was looking at the weather this morning instead of frost advisory. I was like, oh, it's a Hagrid warning today.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I like that.
Nick Frost is playing Hagrid in the new HBO series.
That's awesome.
So today is the day.
Today's the day. Let's do it.
All right.
Let's get into it.
So, did you make breakfast this morning?
Did I make breakfast this morning?
Yeah.
I did not make breakfast.
I
This
don't know
morning.
because like when I walked in this morning, it smelled kind of like hot takes. I mean,
Oh.
hot cake.
Oh, there it is. It smells a little bit like hot takes. That's right. It does smell like hot takes in this place today because we're bringing at you today our hot takes.
Yeah. So we share most the same opinions. Like we're pretty much cut from the same cloth. Our personalities gel
There's
pretty
some
well.
ones, you know.
But there's a couple things that Josh and I grossly agree on. So instead of like dwelling on them and making them full topics right now,
Right.
we figured we'd just come at you with a rapid fire list of alternating hot takes that we have.
Yep.
No explanations. They are what they are. Find yourselves in the comments because these are some spicy ones, and I semi apologize in advance for some of mine because Josh and I were talking.
I apologize for nothing.
Josh and I were talking. He's like, yours are probably going to be a little bit spicier than mine. I said,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I think yours might be a little spicier than mine. I'm going to say this right up front. I have on my list of hot takes, I have intentionally avoided hot takes that I've given before, like my disdain for soup. Pineapple on pizza. Some of those things that we've talked about, kind of, we've teased them out a little bit. These are going to be ones that for both of us, we set the rule of you have to give your hot take, and at most you get like a one-liner afterwards to just say something like an extra little jab or something like that.
Unless one of them is really, really good, and we like kind of look at each other like, really?
Yeah.
Maybe, but probably
if it comes in real hot, we might discuss it just a little bit, but we'll see.
But yeah, so like I said, take this with a grain of salt. We love every one of you. If you consider yourself attacked by these, sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, we're not sorry. But at the same time, we also want you to know that we love you very much.
Yes.
And you're allowed to have your opinions on
Yes,
things.
exactly.
So,
so I'm gonna start. I'm gonna come out swinging.
all right, come on.
Come out swinging.
Give it to me.
How can LeBron be considered the greatest of all time when he's not even the best player to ever play for the Lakers?
There it is. I love it. I love it.
I we are from that generation.
Yeah.
And
I actually have one along these lines, so we'll keep rolling.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm going to hit you with one right
Okay.
now in particular, and I just wanted to start off with this, and you know what it is, that the Dark Knight Batman series of movies starring Christian Bale as Batman is the best Batman series that we have ever seen yet.
all right, we're moving on. We're moving on.
Let's go.
Live action remakes are ruining Disney classics.
Oh, 100%. I'm on board with that one. S'mores are trash.
S'mores or Samoas?
S'mores. S'mores are trash, and they, along with just about anything marshmallow related.
Okay. Hollywood has no new ideas for movies. Most new movies are trash.
Yeah. Yep. Here's one that's going to start affecting people, right? If you are on your cell phone while you are driving, you think that your life is more important than the other people around you, and you should have your license taken away.
100% agree. 100%
Let's go.
agree. We put way too much emphasis on sports than we should.
Ooh, hello. That's a good one. Like that. The Beatles are the most overrated band of all time. I know we've said it before, but it's worth repeating.
Worth rehashing. This
Autumn
is
and everybody else that hates us for that.
This
one,
is one of them that's going to step on some toes.
Okay.
Dr. Pepper. Why?
Oh, okay. All right. We got some friends that are going to be a little salty about that one. All right. Sunflower seeds are the best snack to keep around if you are a bored eater, which I am.
That's I legitimately just started doing that. Like, and I 100% agree.
I always keep sunflower seeds because I'm such a bored eater.
Yeah,
if I don't have anything else to do, I want to chew on something.
And they're small. Like you can, exactly.
You can't consume enough of them to make a bad
right.
bad
Yeah,
day,
exactly.
Except for like the sodium content. Sometimes.
Yeah, which I mean, one bowl of ramen. I mean, you're good right there too.
Yes, sir.
This is gonna make about half the people mad. Dogs are better than cats.
Oh yeah, I think I have that on my list somewhere as well. That's for sure. All right, here we go. Pecan pie is the best kind of pie, and yes, I said pecan correctly.
I mean, honestly, agree to disagree on the pronunciation, but I'm right there with you. I love pecan pie.
Yeah, that
hurts to say.
I appreciate
that
you.
Hurts to say that way. All right.
I'm bringing you over to the dark side.
Cherry or blueberry flavored Pop-Tarts are the superior Pop-Tarts.
Cherry or blueberry?
Yes.
See, Cherry, I fall out with you on that one. For Pop-Tarts. For Pop-Tarts.
Yep.
I do like blueberry ones, though. Here's one that my wife is going to hate, along with a lot of other people. Birds aren't real. They were wiped out and replaced by government drones during the Reagan administration.
And that's why in 2020 they had to replace all the batteries, so they shut the world down.
Had to replace the batteries, and if you think about it, that's the reason why birds sit on power lines, is because they're recharging.
Exactly. They had to replace all the batteries during COVID. Pepsi, as a whole, is the better soda company.
Wow. That's a hot take. I don't know that I agree with that one, but that is a hot take.
I think because, like, no, not explaining it, not justifying it.
Yep, don't
Pepsi
justify it.
Pepsi over Coke.
Well, Pepsi and Coke employees just meet up in the parking lot, duke it out, all right? Okay, here's a hot take. People who work in our school systems should make more money than any person in Hollywood or professional sports. I mean, have you seen this current generation of kids? They are horrible.
Stupid. Yeah. Oh,
and
no, 100%.
Teachers and people that are in school systems as professionals deserve way more than they get.
100%. Plain and simple. Learn how to drive at roundabouts and traffic circles.
Dude, yeah. Let's preach that one
Right.
for a few days.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. LeBron James is not even top 3, so stop comparing them. Cough. Noah, cough.
This is one that's been said before, and I'll say it again. Canes is super overrated.
Amen. That's solid. Black is the best color. If you argue that black isn't a color, then your art teacher failed you.
Okay. All right. This is gonna make. This is
the most fun I've had on any episode so far.
This is one that's gonna ruffle a lot of feathers.
You guys should have seen Josh's face about to explode just then. Anyways,
this is one of my spicier ones.
All right.
Most Disney adults are insufferable.
That one hits close to home because my wife is a Disney. No, she's not one of the insufferable ones. I'll say that much. But
when you make it your entire personality, you are insufferable.
Yeah, okay. All right, here's one. Crocs are the longest running, most lucrative joke anyone has ever pulled on an entire society.
What is it? Idiocracy?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah. If you don't know, in Idiocracy, the movie, the director went to the costume department and told them, we need to have, like, all the clothing, especially the shoes, need to be something that is so stupid and ridiculous that no one would ever wear them. And so, because it was supposed to be set in like this futuristic time period.
Right.
And so the costume director actually went out and found Crocs. And that's what they wear in Idiocracy, where everyone is supposed to be really stupid in the future. And that was made before Crocs became big, and now Crocs have become what they are. And it only reiterates my point that we are living in Idiocracy now. So, anyways.
And this is one that I've said before, and I'll say it again. Pineapple on pizza is not only acceptable, it is delicious, and it enhances the flavor profile.
Anyways, episode 7, 8, and 9 of the Skywalker saga, for most of you, those are just known as the Star Wars movies. They're garbage, and they brought nothing good into the Star Wars universe besides Babu Freak. Who I would give my life for. Right? I love that little guy.
Cold pizza is far superior to reheated pizza.
Oh, let's go. That's solid. Hot dogs, one of the most underrated foods on the planet.
Right. The quote-unquote correct way to load a dishwasher does not exist. And anyone who insists otherwise is being pedantic.
Okay. All right. Most, not all, but most of the pictures and videos on your phone are worthless, and no one's ever going to look at them again. Delete them and gain back the space that you need in your phone.
Okay. Expensive coffee is just a waste of money. Cheap coffee tastes just as good.
Ooh, that is a hot take. That's a hot one there. You limit yourself from having fun in certain situations because you're scared of how others will view you. Their opinions don't matter. Have fun and enjoy your life.
Nice.
That was a more serious one. Sorry,
yeah.
we went off track.
All right. The Dark Knight trilogy While good movies is actually boring and overrated.
Wow. Okay.
There's one good movie in that trilogy.
Which one's the one?
The one with Heath Ledger and the Joker.
Yeah, the second one.
Yeah, that's the only good one. You could have had that as a standalone movie, and my mouth would be shut.
All right.
Ra's al Ghul was a boring villain. Bane was a boring villain.
Yeah, I mean, Ra's al Ghul, I don't disagree, but I think that was more about the development of Bruce Wayne and Batman than it was about Ra's al Ghul. But anyways, we'll move on.
Money,
I know.
Money. My back.
All right. Anyways, all right. Here's my next hot take. There should be mandatory driving exams every 2 years for every person over the age of 65.
Preach.
And we should provide public transportation at little to no cost for everyone that would affect.
100% agree.
Yeah.
1,000%
We'd save
agree.
so much on insurance and car accidents.
Oh,
It would
for
be
sure.
ridiculous.
Binge watching TV shows is the worst way to experience them. Weekly releases build better anticipation and discussion.
That's an interesting one.
Like I hate shows that are released all at once.
Yeah.
Like release maybe 1 or 2 episodes at a time. I find it I'm less inclined to watch a show if all of the episodes are available at once.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's interesting to me.
Yep.
Water is great. Energy drinks are better.
No arguments on this side of the table.
I think we know where we both stand on that one anyways, but
Here we go. Taylor Swift is not talented and their success is baffling.
dude, preach it. Let's go. That's a good one. Okay, here's a pretty hot one. Insulin should be free. Narcan should cost as much as insulin does now.
100% agree. 100% agree. Small talk is actually enjoyable and necessary, not an awkward choice.
Okay.
And that's a weird opinion coming from me because
You're an introvert.
I am a very introvert, but honestly, a lot of my introvertness is just is trying to force conversations.
Yeah.
When it comes naturally and small talk comes naturally, I'm a social butterfly.
Yep. I've seen that. Kids need to be allowed to retaliate when they are bullied or abused by their peers. Bullies only learn when someone else sets them in their place. And since we've eliminated that from schools, it's caused bullying to be a bigger problem today than it was before we started trying to, quote unquote, fix it.
100% agree. Being busy all the time is not a badge of honor, and it's often signs of poor time management.
Ooh, hello. That's a good one. No one actually likes those orange circus peanuts. You can drop the facade and be free of that crap.
Moving on. Social media is a net negative for society and provides zero real connections.
Okay.
Coming from 2 people who do a podcast.
Yeah, right. And do a lot on social media.
Yeah.
If your opinion matters to someone, they will ask you for it. If they don't ask you for it, then you're just wasting your time by sharing it with them in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Waking up early is not inherently more productive or virtuous than staying up late.
That'll preach. Absolutely. You get the same amount of time in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You just shift it. I
Right.
don't understand why there's such a stigma against staying up late versus going to bed early and all that stuff. Anyways. Neckties should be outlawed in all countries. A man looks just as debonair in a suit without a noose around his neck.
I like that. You should not have to get offended on somebody else's behalf.
Ooh, that's...
You can care for other people, but the time that you get offended and the person that it's affecting is not offended by it, you have no right.
That's good. Now that cars are becoming so technologically advanced, they should design it so that you cannot turn or make a lane change without properly signaling.
Oh, preach!
I love that idea. That actually came from a TikTok video that I saw a couple of days ago.
The concept of a quote-unquote soulmate is unrealistic and puts unnecessary pressure on relationships.
Oh, okay. Avocados are nasty and only beneficial as a vehicle for other foods and spices.
True. True. I mean, I do love me some Mexican mashed potatoes, though.
Guacamole, yes, sir. See, I'm on board, but again,
To eat them by themselves, like avocado toast.
It's just a way to get those spices and taste to your mouth.
Right.
The avocado is nothing but a binder for it.
Right. Yeah. It's a smoothie because it's
like
fruit.
we don't make a big deal out of flour
Yeah, exactly.
because flour is the same thing. It's just a binder.
Right. Most popular tourist destinations are overrated and not worth the crowds or cost.
That's good. Bottled water is a scam. You're just paying to drink somebody else's tap water.
Owning pets is often more of a burden than it is a joy.
That'll preach. That's solid. My wife is going to hate me for agreeing with that one. The vast majority of babies are not cute.
Agree. Punctuality is an overvalued trait. Being a little late is fine.
I have a hard time with that one, but all right. Clapping after a movie or when a flight lands should be punishable with 1 night spent in a padded room at a local mental hospital.
I'm not disagreeing. I would also throw in applauding after the national anthem.
That one I kind of understand, though. There's a sense of pride in that, right? That we're all in this together. But when it comes to, like you're clapping for a dude just doing his job when he lands a plane, and you're clapping in movie theaters where the people who made the movie cannot hear you.
But if you clap loud enough, they might hear you.
No,
Just
never,
like
ever.
if I yell loud enough, my favorite sports ball team will hear me.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And oh my gosh, I'm going to throw another one in real quick.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm jumping.
Go.
The other one I'm going to throw in is do not refer to yourself included in with your favorite sports ball team. Do not say, we won the state championship. We did this. We did that. You didn't do anything.
Right.
You're just cheering for them. And I understand it. Be a fan. Be excited about the fact that they won, the team that you pull for, all that kind of stuff. But don't say we.
I will piggyback off of that. Unless you went to, have a direct relative that went to, or paid for sports college institution yourself, your opinion does not matter to me about how good they are.
We're throwing out some real hot ones now. A lot of people getting angry. Listen,
Good.
Take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. We disagree. It's going to be all right.
Truth and love.
But stop saying we. It's just crazy.
The idea of following your passion is bad advice for your career.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. That's worth reflecting on a little bit. Okay. This is my final one that I had on my list.
I got one more too.
Okay, cool. So my final one is that boneless wings are superior, except for when it comes to Southern fried chicken like Bojangles.
Interesting.
They are, man. It's just it's.
So you just like saucy chicken nuggets?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Hey, that's fine.
There's less work involved, and you get more meat.
So doing your own research online is rarely as reliable as consulting experts.
Yep.
Go directly to the source. If you need to research something and original sources are available to you, go to the original source.
That's good. That's good.
And flats over drums.
Oh, now that I'll agree with you on. I like that. Well,
that's been our hot takes.
Those are our hot takes for now. Who knows? We may have another episode that brings back a whole nother list of hot takes. But now that we have officially ticked everybody off, and if you're still listening, number one, we appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for sticking around. We love you very much.
But should we pour a little salt on those wounds?
I see what you did there. But this is a good time for us to take a break real quick before we get into your comments and talk about our sponsor, The Salt Collective. This week, we're going to tell you again about our sponsor, The Salt Collective. So they exist to be able to come alongside small businesses and nonprofits and help them to just do business better. And so as they do that, one of the cool things that the Salt Collective does is they take the businesses that partner with them by hiring them on, and they partner them with the nonprofit organizations that they work with so that what is paid from the businesses goes to support the nonprofits through the Salt Collective, so they get to do more work for nonprofits as more businesses hire them on. So we love seeing that partnership. We love seeing what they're doing. They work with several of the nonprofits here in our area. They work with several small businesses and friends of ours. And they have done tremendous work to be able to help grow their social media presence, to help them with marketing, and we believe that they could help you as well. So if you're a small business owner, or if you know a small business owner that's looking for some help in marketing, and especially in the world of Facebook and Instagram, all those online places that you can exist, if you know somebody that's in a small business that would like to hire them on for that purpose, or if you are someone that works with a nonprofit organization, we would encourage you to check out remainsalty.com, or you can go to their Facebook page by searching for The Salt Collective. You can also check them out on Instagram as well. And that we know that if you go check out their website, go check out their social media pages, you'll see The Salt Collective is a great organization doing great things for small businesses and nonprofits. Check out The Salt Collective, remainsalty.com. We appreciate it.
As always, this is, if you're looking at your release dates on this is the last Monday of May, right?
Yep, last Monday of the month of May.
It's so weird when we record these ahead of time.
Yeah.
Like, you have to think like in advance.
I had like a weird freak out moment today when I got because when we sit down to record every time, I transfer the previous episodes that have already been edited, like all their raw data and stuff, over to my external hard drive.
Right.
And then we record the new ones, and they stay on my computer until I get them edited, and then eventually I move them off the next time that we record. So I just have like a system of remembering, move these out, put these in. And so it's usually like 2 or 3 of them by the time that we get to the next time we record. And I just had like this like weird existential crisis kind of moment today of like, which episode are we on? How does this line up? Because I was trying to figure out like why we were doing comments again.
Because it felt like we just did them, yeah, but it's because that episode just released.
That's right, because episode 17
I had the same thing,
was the one that had comments in it.
Right.
And this one will now be 21, which is 4 later, which makes sense because it's the right timing.
Yeah.
But it all just, my mind was melted.
I think what messes me up, especially with May, is there's 5 Fridays in May, but only 4 Mondays.
Yep.
I think that was one that really messed with me because I was like, because we talked about it the last time we recorded, we were like, oh yeah, well these are just our filler for the month. Next one we'll do X and Y.
Right.
And I was, I texted you and I was like, are we doing comments this week on the first episode or the second? I couldn't remember.
Yep. It's hard to keep track because like just so everybody knows, like as we talk about these, basically what we're doing is each time, like, so this time when we record, we'll record your comments for the last one of May, and we'll record our cryptid for the 1st of June. And so those 2 will be the ones we record today. And then the next 2 that we record, so 2 weeks from now, we'll record 2 episodes that will be like our filler episodes in between. And so those will be ones that we just get to, we do whatever we want to do on those. And then when we come back around the next, like 2 weeks after those, we'll come back and record again the end of June and beginning of July.
Right.
And so we're on that pattern. And so it just gets kind of crazy trying to remember like where are we at on that.
Which is weird because this episode will release on Memorial Day.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
that's
and
crazy.
so like this will be like the kids' last week of school, all that kind of fun stuff. Like Mason, as of the airing of this episode, Mason has his surgery on Thursday, so that this is a busy time.
It's crazy.
And this is also hard for a lot of people to believe that we are actually ahead this far on something.
You guys are organized? What happened?
It's that ADHD hyperfocus. This is what we're hyper-focusing on right now. So
this is our thing.
We apologize. This is where all of our effort is going to.
Yeah. If there's other things in life that you're mad at us about falling through, we're sorry. This is how it goes.
So we have our comments.
Yep.
Like we said, the end of every month we're gonna roll through comments for the month.
Absolutely.
So the first one was from our space versus ocean question.
Yeah, I asked the hypothetical question of would you rather be stranded in space or be stranded in the ocean?
Right. Which I think inherently, there are more options being stranded in the ocean versus stranded in space.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like going back, thinking about it logically, things
more
like
survival possibilities.
Right. So Ida said she'd rather be stranded in space because sharks. Again, that was my argument to begin with.
Super fair.
It's one of those things where like you're in space, you can kind of see exactly what's around you, aka nothing.
Yeah.
But you can only see so far down into the water.
That's fair. Joe commented, and he had a pretty long one, but he says, space, no question. He says, sure, I'd be alone and suffocating in the vast emptiness, but at least I could pretend I'm Matt Damon growing poop potatoes and calling it science, which I love. That's the Martian?
Martian, yeah.
Yeah, is the name of the movie if you want to check that out. He said, out at sea, question mark, I'm just a soggy snack pack slowly cooking under the sun while sea creatures take bets on who gets the first bite. if I'm doomed either way, I'd rather drift off under a sky full of stars than be picked apart while seagulls scream at me like I owe them money. That's hilarious, Joe. Thank you for that comment.
But like two very drastically visually descriptive
oh yeah.
narrations of
I just love the fact that like Joe has the absolute worst case scenario of the ocean in mind.
But I mean, it makes sense though. Like, but I guess on the flip side, if you're getting picked to death by seagulls, you're relatively close to land.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
So
like,
maybe that
you have to be close to something if seagulls are there. So
and then our girl Tori, this question gives me too much anxiety. I choose death.
yeah, that's fair. That's absolutely fair.
Same.
Brooke said, stranded at sea. There's more of a chance to be rescued, but also there are no storms in space, and a storm being stranded at sea is more than terrifying. But also, the no oxygen thing in space, eventually that supply will run out. Yeah, I don't know.
All that to say,
Yeah.
she's undecided.
She's weighing it all out, and she's like, I just can't pick one. So
Then Lynette, I thought this exchange was kind of funny. She's like, so Lynette, after asking a clarifying question, did
Right.
you even listen to the episode?
she does listen.
I
man.
know.
She tells me all the time, like, because I see her like pass by in the drop off line at school, and she kind of waves to me and stuff like that. And she'll tell me later on, she's like, "Oh, I was listening to the episode while I saw you."
She said, I'm going for the ocean. I hate them both, though. LOL.
That's funny. Now, my favorite question to ask you repetitively, I asked about which breakfast food would you be, and Savannah said, I'm thinking bagel. There's lots of options to change it up, which is kind of cool. I like that answer.
Yeah.
That's a good solid one.
AJ coming through with us because we were talking about the gallon. I think this was from the Molassacre episode.
The Molassacre episode, we were talking about the size of that tank and how much it could hold.
Yeah. So AJ commented and said, 1,000,000 seconds is approximately 11 and a half days. 1 billion seconds is approximately 31 and a half years.
Right, because I made that comment about, like, most people don't understand the deficit between 1,000,000 and 1 billion.
Right.
Like, when you really look into it and stuff like that, 1 billion is a tremendous number. I mean, the difference between 11 and a half days to 31 and a half years.
Right.
That's crazy.
And like I said, time and money are the two things that we have, and that time is a little bit more measurable, I think. And then that just kind of proved that point that, like, that's a 20-day difference. That's almost a month difference between the time of 1,000,000 seconds versus 1 billion seconds.
Not days. Reread that.
Oh, years.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's 11.5 days compared to 31.5 years. I mean, that's not even like same ballpark kind of numbers. That's craziness. We asked the question, would you rather know the answer to every question that you're ever asked, or be able to go back and change a past event in your life? My wife jumped in and she said, I would absolutely change one event. I don't want to know the answer to every question. I like to learn, and knowing the answer every time makes it impossible to gauge in learning conversations.
So I wonder what the one event was that she would change.
Yeah, marrying me.
Well, yeah, because it shouldn't be, because, I mean, you already know all the answers to every question anyway.
See, yeah.
It works out that way.
That's funny.
Tori said, definitely know every question. I think that's a valid.
Which, Tori, you got to pay attention, because you said know every question.
Yeah, but it's know every answer.
Anyways, we're just joking. AJ, who is Tori's husband, said, I thought I would want to know the answer to every question, but that's almost the same as infinite knowledge, and I don't know if I have the capacity to handle that. And then he kind of went on like a deep theological dive of talking about God's infinite knowledge versus our limited knowledge as man. And so you can go check that out on the post and stuff and read a little bit more about AJ's deep dive into the theology of it. But yeah, that's kind of, that's a solid like thought process of knowing the answer. One of the things that I kind of wondered, like in retrospect on that question, was would you know the answer to every question in the sense that like all of the knowledge is all packed into your head, or would it just be in the moment when somebody asks you a question?
Like,
that
do you
just
retain all of that knowledge?
Right. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. So Autumn said that she said, I would agree with Brooke. I love learning. It would be boring to always have the answers. There'd never be any sense of awe and wonder. No thanks. I love my aha moments. I change one thing, but then we'd have the butterfly effect to deal with. So there's that.
Right. Which is that's like kind of the big part of that
Right.
question, right? Is like if you go back and change one event in your life, how does it affect the rest of your life, right? Like, because that was the thing that I kind of pointed to, and my answer to that one was everything that I've gone through in my life has brought me to be the person that I am today. And so to go back and even to remove something small, seemingly
Right.
small from your life, could change the whole course of who you become, and that's kind of worrisome to me. So
Right.
I'd rather have all the answers.
All right, so this one was actually fun. This one we had a ton of engagement,
of interaction on it, yeah.
which was really good. So I asked the question, or we talked about movies like the highest grossing, things like that.
Yeah.
And then we kind of went on that on our Facebook and Instagram post of what your guys' favorite movies were. So a lot of people had a lot of great answers. So Mary said Jurassic Park, any, Godzilla, any, or any Disney princess movie.
Yeah, those are solid. I commented on that and said that I thought that her and Brooke were very similar. Brooke is, in particular, the Jurassic Park movies. She loves the Jurassic
Well,
Park
and I
movies.
talked about it, I think, on that episode too. Like the books are so good, the movies are so good, they still hold up. I think the original 3 movies hold up better than the new ones.
Yeah.
Not that the new ones are terrible. They're watchable, but it loses a little bit of it. I think it's that whole nostalgia lens too. I said, I'll go ahead and I won't make you read my comment.
So, and we can add on to yours, but you can tell them what yours was. But
I said The Shawshank Redemption. It's
great movie.
It's one of those. I mean,
Great
it was
movie.
filmed right here in Ohio.
Yeah.
When I was in 8th grade, we took a field trip to the old penitentiary.
Yeah.
So we got to see a lot of the old movie stuff, and actually, there were 2 movies filmed at the Mansfield State Penitentiary.
Yep.
So you have that one, and then you have the prison scene from Air Force One was
Right.
also shot there.
Yeah, and that's so we actually had Shannon as well as my mom, Joy, both also in different places commented that Shawshank was theirs as well. That was their favorite movie. So
And the thing that I always forget about that movie is it's a Stephen King movie.
yeah,
Like,
Shawshank is.
It's one of those
Which
things
is crazy because it doesn't fit his MO at all. But
it does, but it doesn't. Like once you kind of like take that deep dive and like the psychological aspect of it, like it gives you more of like the psychological stuff from The Shining.
Yep,
But,
for sure.
You know, being trapped in one place, things like that, and like how that kind of goes through.
Next up, Tori commented on that same one and said, "I simply cannot pick just one," which is an absolutely fair answer
Right.
for trying to get the best movie. For me, I commented and said, my big 2, and one of them's kind of a cheat in a sense, but my first one's Braveheart. That's been like my favorite movie since I was in college, like way back in the day. It's an amazing story, just amazing writing and all that kind of stuff in that sense. But my second one was Band of Brothers, which is a mini series put out by HBO,
Right.
like years and years ago. Each episode of it is kind of a mini movie of its own.
It's very theatrical.
Yeah, but that's always been like a favorite series of mine. I really love it. So
Julie commented and said that her favorite movie was Ratatouille.
yeah,
solid movie.
That's a solid.
I know
choice.
that's one of my boys, my oldest. That's his favorite movie. Like,
Yeah.
he was downstairs watching on my TV, and I like looked over. I was like, "Are you watching Ratatouille?" He's like, "Yeah, I love this movie."
That's awesome.
All right, cool.
That's so good. Lynette said fried green tomatoes, which I told her that my mom really enjoyed that movie back in the day as well and stuff. I can honestly say that I think I've only seen pieces of fried green tomatoes. I never watched the entire thing.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it before, but I don't remember what it is.
I don't remember the plot of it. That's why I think that I haven't seen the entire thing.
Yeah.
I've just seen like the famous scenes that people made, gifts and all that kind of stuff out of.
Right.
So
Kevin said The Patriot and The Pursuit of Happiness, which The Patriot.
both of those
In
are
the Pursuit of
super
yeah.
solid movies. The Patriot's one of my favorites. That was one of the ones that, like, as soon as our daughter Sky got to the age that we thought it was appropriate, like the moment that I felt like, oh, she's ready for this, we sat down and watched The Patriot. I'm like, you have to see this movie, and
Right.
she actually really enjoyed it, which is kind of it's way outside of her genre of stuff, and so I was super excited the fact that she enjoyed it. But The Patriot's a great movie.
Right.
And then the final one, Autumn said, The Last Samurai, amazing movie.
Yeah, I forget about that movie, but
That was one
very good. It's one of the later Tom Cruise movies that's actually good.
Yep.
Like I think for me personally, he peaked at Top Gun.
Really?
Yeah, I guess another hot take.
That is a hot take.
I like
he's had some pretty good movies.
like the Mission Impossible movies are okay. I think
Yeah.
I've only seen the first one.
I'm not massive on the Mission Impossible ones, but I thought that that Tom
You like
Cruise was
the
pretty good.
Jack Reacher movies.
Yeah, I was gonna say he did the Reacher movies. I didn't think he was the right pick to play Reacher,
Right.
but I thought that the movies were good. If you kind of take it outside of the Reacher world, I say that as somebody like I'm reading the Reacher books now because my dad passed them off to me. He's got the entire series, like everything.
Gotcha.
So he's reading all of them. So reading the books and the TV show, I think, is much more.
I was gonna say because I haven't seen either.
Yeah,
I
the
was
show
gonna
the
ask,
show
is
is
the
much
show
more accurate because
yeah.
well, I mean the whole like part of the thing about it is when you see the descriptions in the books, Reacher is supposed to be this
big
intimidating
jacked dude,
guy,
which
right?
he is in the TV show.
Yeah, so the guy that plays him in the TV show, Alan Richman, is he's like 6'4", 240 pounds or whatever it is. Like he's a big dude,
Right.
And he's intimidating looking because he's very muscular and ripped and all that kind of stuff. And Tom Cruise is not.
He's 5'5".
Yeah, he's like the short little
180
guy.
pounds,
Yeah,
soaking wet.
and not that he's not like cut and everything. Like Tom Cruise is in amazing shape for his age.
Right.
But at the same time, it's just like you don't fill the role of being this big, intimidating presence. Anyways, we got on a real weird rabbit trail there. So she said The Last Samurai. Last Samurai is an amazing movie.
Right.
I have it on DVD, which I know ages me to a degree. But that's one of the ones that I'll go every once in a while and pull it back out of the vault, throw it in the Xbox and watch that one. She said, Remember the Titans? Crazy good movie.
See, I have a thing about sports movies.
Yeah.
Okay, let me rephrase that. I have a thing about serious sports movies because, and we can do an entire episode about this, but the actual story of Remember the Titans, that movie does that story very little. There's very little truth in that story.
Oh, really?
In the movie.
See, I don't know the real story.
So, like, it goes like that school was actually one of the last schools to integrate.
Yeah.
Like, most of their competition was all integrated schools.
Gotcha.
So, like, and they blew everybody out of the water that year. Like, there was no controversies. There was no, like, it wasn't a big a deal as Disney made it out to be.
Yeah.
I mean, the people are the people are true. The general story is true, but it's like any movie that
you have to embellish things to make it more
takes
palatable.
from like real life. I mean, even book adaptation movies.
Right.
Where, I mean, they're redoing the entire Harry Potter series because the majority of the good stuff wasn't even in the movies from the books.
Yep.
You take Lord of the Rings, you have the attack on Hobbiton that's not in any of the...
And Tom Bombadil,
Yeah.
who is massive in the books.
Right.
And you
it's
don't
not
get
even
anything about him in
mentioned.
there. Yeah.
It's one of those things
I
where
would love to see those movies. If they could remake them to the quality that Peter Jackson did the first time, because the OGs are like, they're some of my favorite movies,
and they still hold up.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like, I mean, because most of it was all practical. Viggo Mortensen breaks his toe every time he kicks the orc,
Right.
the orc helmet,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things where, like, they're such good movies.
But they're so well done, and so if you could do it to the quality that Peter Jackson did it, but I'd love to see the Lord of the Rings as a like Band of Brothers type of like 6-part series, and give me like the introduction part of it going into Tom Bombadil, and that be a movie, and then give us the next but break the books down to like 2 movies each.
Oh, like how they were written?
Yeah,
because it was written in
parts
6
like
books.
that. Yeah,
it was written
yeah,
in 6 books, and then the publishers put them into 3.
Yep.
So it was released in 6 parts.
Right.
So essentially, you would be releasing book 1 of book 1. Then
Right.
you would do book 2 of 1, and then
which is why, like, if you heard us in a previous episode when we were talking about movies and talking about the 6 billion endings that you see throughout the Lord of the Rings, that's the reason why you get those endings, is because as they were following the books, and at least even though they didn't include like Tom Bombadil, the attack on Hobbiton, like different things that you see in the books, even though they didn't include all of that, they were struggling to figure out, how do we like keep this movie going, even though we've come to what the books would show as like a natural end to book 1, right?
Right.
So we finished book 1. Now we've got to take a pause and come back and pick up in book 2.
Right.
And so that's why you get like the big sweeping cinematic shots and all that kind of stuff that looks like they're finishing the movie, and then it fades to black and comes back to another part.
When it's like, I mean, with like the Jurassic Park movies, a lot of the stuff in the second movie, aside from the whole Ian Malcolm thing where he goes off to the island and everything, is in the first book.
Right.
So, like, where the little girl is playing on the beach, that is actually the opening of the first book.
Right.
So, like, they take liberties with everything, which, they buy the rights to it. They pay, all this money, and they can do what they want to do. But, like, that's my hang up with sports movies, is a lot of it is over embellished. Like, I love, the funny sports movies, like, Happy Gilmore, the Mighty Ducks movies.
Where it's all satire.
Right, exactly. I mean, Disney had an entire hockey franchise birthed out of 3 movies.
Oh, yeah. So, Remember the Titans, good movie though. I'm on board for you. Like, it's a great movie. And then the final one she had on there was Forrest Gump, which is like, if you don't like Forrest Gump, like if you just overall hate Forrest Gump, then maybe get a heart.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I mean,
it's such a good movie. Have you ever seen the? I think it was like Theo Vaughn had like a video that was passing around the internet, or no, maybe it wasn't Theo. It was somebody that was on like a podcast thing talking. And he talked about the fact that at the end of Forrest Gump, if you're really paying attention to what's going on and stuff, that, we've spent this entire movie with people making fun of Forrest Gump and him seeming like oblivious to it, right? The people are just like picking on him left and right and stuff like that. He's just rolling on with life and happy-go-lucky and stuff. You get to the end of the movie and he walks into Jenny's apartment. And he's talking with her, and he says, "Jenny, you've got a son." And she says, she says something about his dad, right? So she hints towards, and Forrest figures out, oh, this is my son.
Right.
That Jenny had. And Forrest, in this moment of, like, clarity, asks her, is he like me? Which means that throughout this entire, like, almost 3-hour movie that we have of people making fun of him seemingly falling short in all these different ways, he was aware of who he was.
Oh, yeah.
He was aware of everything. And it's like, man, like when I saw that in that interview and stuff and kind of like started thinking about that, I was like, that's wild to think, and for us to think through in that sense of like, if you've got kids out there,
right,
that should like grab your heart and just like really hold on to it in that sense in a way. But anyways,
well, and then you have so many quotable lines from that. Those look like some comfortable shoes.
Yeah. Oh, Lieutenant Dan, you ain't got no legs.
But Lieutenant Dan, you ain't got no legs.
Something jumped up and bit me.
It started raining and it didn't stop raining for 3 months. It's like, what are you in Ohio?
Yeah, right. Yep.
But yeah, no, those are some great movies. Some
good
like
movies.
I said, I forgot about.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where like I'll go through that with music, with movies. You won't think about them, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I need to watch this movie, or it's on TV, and you're like, oh man, like you're glued to it.
Every once in a while, I'll like, we have like a big binder downstairs. There's all of our DVDs in it, and I'll just go grab that binder, and I'm like, all right, we're going old school today. And so I'll just flip through until I find one that's like, oh man, I haven't watched that in a while. A lot of times my go-to, like, so talking about comfort movie.
Well, I was about to ask you, do you have like a comfort movie or a movie that you throw on the background or anything like that?
Yeah, so like Braveheart is kind of a comfort movie. The problem with Braveheart is like it's so stinking long.
Yeah.
But my comfort movie is Equilibrium. We've talked about that like a little bit on podcasts before and stuff, but it's an old Christian Bale film that didn't do very well here in America. It kind of picked up an American like cult following later on, but it was massive in Europe and stuff like that when it launched. And it's like a 1984 style movie where like dystopian future,
right?
And people don't have feelings and all this kind of stuff. And man, I love that movie. So that's one that like if I get an opportunity and I'm feeling nostalgic, that one goes in the DVD player.
See, like my comfort movie or like a movie I'll throw on while I'm doing stuff is Boondock Saints.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know you like that one.
I'll be sitting there and like cleaning or whatever, and I will literally be quoting the movie as
along
it's
with
happening.
it,
like all the different parts and everything. Like I watched that movie so much when I was in like late high school into college.
I like to throw on old movies while I'm folding laundry. That's like the time. I sit on our bed and fold laundry. And
One year I wrapped Christmas presents to Indiana Jones.
Nice.
Like all the Indiana Jones were on, and I just started watching them.
Christmas Vacation, man. That's like from the time that Thanksgiving hits, like Thanksgiving night every year. That's my tradition. Is before I go to bed, I watch Christmas Vacation, and then that's like I pretty much put it on repeat all the way through the holidays and stuff.
Yeah.
And then when we get to New Year's, I change back over to nostalgia.
And this is another thing. Like I love A Christmas Story. I know a lot of people hate that movie.
I'm not a big fan of it, but
But it's one of those things where like I grew up watching it, but I will only watch it on Christmas Eve.
Oh, really?
That is the only time I watch it. I'm not a huge fan of Christmas movies. I'll throw that out there. Like Elf, not a huge fan of. Like
yeah,
it's one of those Will Ferrell movies that I'm like, I can see why people like it, but
Right.
it's not for me.
I don't mind watching Elf like once a year, like
Yeah.
at Christmas time, like because Brooke will throw it on and stuff, and we like pretty much from that time that we started at the end of Thanksgiving until New Year's, we just kind of rotate through a lot of the big like Christmas
Right.
hits and stuff, and so we'll see all of those. But there's kind of they're just on. There's more like background stuff,
noise,
so
yeah.
that you're kind of in the
Yeah.
holiday mood and stuff. But Christmas Vacation is the one that I'm like locked in, quoting everything, laughing along with it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like Elf for me is like Talladega Nights for you. Like
Yeah.
the quotes
Yep.
are more the reason why I will watch the movie.
Yeah.
is that
fair.
so.
Cool. Well, as we get ready to wrap up for today, we're number one. We want to celebrate just shortly again that this is episode 21.
Yes, top
which
1% of podcasts.
puts us in the top 1%. We love that. So if you wouldn't mind celebrating along with us, a great way to celebrate is for you to drop a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening to us on, or whatever the review looks like. If you have an opportunity to give us a good review, we would greatly appreciate that.
Absolutely.
If you have the opportunity or the inclination to leave us a bad review, talk to yourself and say, that's not a good idea because these guys are really nice and I
Right.
want to be able to treat them well. And so don't leave the bad review. Leave a good review, so like 5 stars, but you can give us critiques on that if you want to as you leave the comment with it. 'Cause
Exactly.
If you say things along with your review, it helps us out a lot in the algorithms, things along those lines. We would greatly appreciate that. And then what do we want to do on the social media pages?
So if you can go ahead and like, subscribe, push all the buttons, type
Comment,
of things, comment.
share.
I know this episode is probably going to spawn a lot of comments because of our good opinions.
yes, let us know where you disagree with us.
Yeah, exactly. And if you
We're
do
fine with
disagree, we are perfectly fine. We have big shoulders and thick skin.
That's right.
We can take it. So, if you could go ahead, like, share, subscribe, everything like that, that'd be awesome. Just help this little podcast grow.
That's right. That's all we're looking to do. We're looking to have fun with this. That's why we're here. We want to make you laugh. We want to have something that's safe for you and your kids to be able to listen to together in car rides and all that good stuff. And so the more you share it out, and the more people that we have kind of tuning into it, hopefully in the future we'll be able to get things rolling and make it even better as we continue on this path. But otherwise, we look forward to seeing all of you guys in the next episode.
Bye.
I enjoyed doing hot takes.
That was a lot of fun.
That's fun. Just rounding them off.
Yeah.
How many people can we make mad today? Not our ultimate goal to make you mad, just our ultimate goal to share our hot
Right.
takes.
Exactly.